All right, team, today we've got a fun one. So in building landing pages, we want to make sure that we're converting the maximum amount of users who view our page. We want to make sure that the copy, the taglines, the description, the imagery is all spot on. And this is where A/B testing can be really helpful. So today I'm going to show you how we can do this in Rails using the split gem. But before we start, I'm going to quickly show you one that we set up for Clipflow. So we set an experiment on our page on Clipflow for this tagline here. We wanted to see which tagline converted best. We had two that we came up with. One of them was content planning for YouTube creators. Obviously tells you exactly what the app is. And the other one was just calling out your problem. Maximum effort, mid results. So in order to make the best decision, we're gonna use data. All right, so I'll quickly show you what we did in Clipflow to set this up. So here's our basic standard landing page. But if we change the A/B testing here, you can see that we now have this one, right? So we now have two different versions that we can A/B test, and we follow the user from when they land on here until they sign up. Looking at the results now, we can actually see that the different variants that we've got running, how many people took part and how many people finished. And for us, finishing means converting or signing up. So you can see here that the content planning one so far has had a 0% conversion, whereas the max effort has actually had a 5% conversion. So we'll keep running this experiment for a while and then actually see who comes up the winner. And then you can actually just click use this and then set that experiment and can remove it from your app. All right, so let's jump in and see how we can do it. Okay, so in our editor, firstly, we need to make sure that we are using Redis. So the split gem runs on top of Redis. So on Mac, we can just go run brew, install Redis, hit enter and do the work. But I've already got that. So if we could go brew services list, we should have Redis running. Let's have a look. We got Redis here. All right, so I'm running Redis right now. And I can also run the Redis CLI, and I've got it right there, okay? So make sure that you got Redis running first, because it uses this to keep track of the different A/B tests and our experiments. Okay, so from there, I'm gonna open up Clipflow. The first thing we need to do is add in the gem, okay? Let's start off by creating a new Rails project. So we're gonna go Rails new, and we're gonna call it A/B test. All right, so we're just gonna set up a quick new Rails project. And then we're gonna jump in here as soon as this is installed. So let it initialize. All right, so it's all done. So let's just jump into now A/B tests in VS Code. All right, so we've got our new Rails app. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna just run, let's CD into that actually, A/B test. And then we're gonna run Rails S to start the server. And we should be running on port 3000 now. So let me grab a new window and just make sure we're all up and running. So we're gonna go localhost, there we go, we're up and running, all right? Here we are, hello Rails. So the first things first is we wanna actually add the split gem to our gem file. So let's go down here to gem file. All right, let me just bump this up so everyone can see. And then we're just gonna scroll down to the bottom and we're gonna add this here. So what we need to do here is you can just make sure that we're requiring the dashboard. That's what gives us the UI to actually see the experiments. Without that, you can't see it very easily. And then there's the gem. So now we're gonna just run bundle install. So I'll stop this and I'll write bundle, install that gem, okay? Now what we're gonna, I'll run Rails S again, just to start the server. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into config, initializers. We're gonna create a new file here called split.rb. All right, and then what we wanna do is we wanna set up our split. So we're gonna go split.configure, and then we're gonna go do configure. We could just do C. And then from here, we're gonna say ce.persistence is equal to cookie. Now the reason I'm doing this is because we want to track this across unauthenticated users. So what we'll do is we'll put a cookie on their browser and then we can track them through that session. If you're using Redis here, you need to actually provide an ID, which we can't do right now because the user isn't logged in, especially for a landing page, okay? So we've got that set up. Now what we want to do is we're going to go jump into routes. So we're going to go here and find routes RB and open that up. Now we're going to grab this Split, there's a bit of a config stuff which we can grab from Split itself, but I'll just paste it in here and talk you through it. There's a bit going on. So this first part is basically just, we're setting up the Split dashboard, but what we are adding in front of it is some authentication, right? Because we don't want people just to be able to jump in here and actually authenticate and read our data or run and change experiments. So we put a username and a password in front of that. And then here we're just saying, it's just comparing the password and the username that's been provided to some that we've provided in credentials, right? So I'll show you how to set those credentials up. So let's go here. Okay, so to edit our credentials files in the Rails project, we go editor equals code wait. So this is telling to wait for VS Code, run bin Rails, credentials edit, and then the environment. So my environment here is going to be development. Okay. So it's opened in here, but what we're going to do is we're going to say split, and then we're going to go username, and this is going to be ken@email.com. Wow. And then password is just going to be password. Never do that, but this is just for development, all right? So there, we're going to save that away. That's going to get encrypted and saved, okay? So now that we've set that up, we can go and run or set up our first experiment, right? So we've got our routes. Let's just double check that that actually works. Let's run Rails S again. Rails S, and then we're going to go here and we're going to go split, and we're going to go ken@email.com, and we're going to go password. There we go. So we can see this is actually running off of my other one, but you can see this is what the dashboard looks like, right? So because I'm using a shared Redis instance, it's got both of the tests in here. But anyway, that's what it looks like there, okay? Now what we can do is actually go and create an experiment. So what we're going to do is let's set up this home page here and just make sure we actually have something that we can do. So we're going to create a new controller. And we're going to call it marketing controller. Okay. And then I'm going to say marketing controller is going to extend from application controller. I'm just going to go here, marketing controller, and then I'm just going to create a new method, index. Okay, and then we're going to create a view. So let's create a new view called marketing, and then it's going to be called index.html.erb, and I'm just going to write here h1 hello world. Okay. Now let's see here, we need to create a route. So if we go back into our routes, close all these off, we'll go into our routes, and then we're going to just say our route goes to marketing index. Let's see if we get it right. There we go, hello world. Okay, now hello world is very generic, right? So we're going to be like, yeah, I don't feel like using that all the time. So what I'll do here, and open a new Ruby block inside of our index. And we're going to say the title of this page is an A/B test. And we're going to call this landing title. And then we're going to provide our options, right? So we're going to provide our control, which is the first option. So this will be hello world. What else could we say? We could say, hey team, is our second. Right, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to just render this right here. Okay, let's see what happens. Hello world. And now what we can see is if we jump into this here, you can see if we jump in here, where cookies, here, cookies, you can see that we have a split token, a cookie, sorry. And it's saying the landing title. So let's just delete this and delete this. And then let's refresh. You can see now we've got a hey team, right? So it's using landing title as hey team down here. So now that this user is always going to see hey team, okay? So that's how we set up the first part of the A/B test. Now we can also, instead of clearing the cookie like that, which is obviously time consuming and hit and miss because it could just keep giving the same one, what we're going to do here is we're going to add in this, and it's called, so we use the key landing title. So we can go AB test equals, and then in brackets, landing title, and then we can give the keys. So I haven't given these keys yet. Let's just go. So that's changed it to hello world, and then we can change it here. Hey team. Okay. Let's see if this works. No. So you can easily flick it there if you're just debugging and you want to actually see what that looks like in real life. All right, so now that we can actually control what the user sees on this side, we now want to be able to finish the experiment. So what do we say as a success? Is it when, usually it'll be when a user signs up or a user buys something, but in our instance here, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new route, and we're going to say details, right? And we'll set up a new view quickly, details.html.erb. We're going to say h1, and it's going to be details, right? So for instance, we'd have created a landing page and be like, oh, see more details, and you click on that link. So what we'll do here, we need to create a route. So that will be get details, and that's going to be to marketing details. Okay, let's just check that route first. There we go, so that route works. Now what we're gonna do is when the user clicks this, we're gonna finish our A/B test because we're gonna say they've actually done what we wanted them to do. All right, so we're gonna look at here and say landing title. That's the name of the test, and that's finished, okay? So now if I just open up this again, localhost/split, let's see if it's showing it. You can see here, so we've got 2 experiments running now across 2 different apps. Landing titles the one we care about. And you can see here, we've got no participants on Hey World, but we've got 1 on Hey Team, okay? So if we just, that. So you can see that's the Hey Team one. If we clear that cookie again, we still got a Hey Team. This is what I mean. So if you try and get a good hit, it's gonna keep, you're gonna be a chance. It's gonna be 50% chance. Anyway, so you can see it's just counting up here. Now when we click, we need to create a link. So we can click on that. So we're gonna go here, link to details, and that's gonna be, I think it's just details path. Let's see. Yep, and then we click that. You can now see that there's a completed, and we've got a 25% conversion. So now we can track that the whole time. And the cool thing about this little gem is if we go back here, so it still says Hey Team, we can actually say, I want to use this, right? Now if we refresh, see it uses that all the time, right? Otherwise you can say, okay, no, I don't want that. I want to reopen the experiment. And you go, yep, and then it will now set you back to whatever the cookie was. So you can actually force what you want once you finish the experiment. Now, obviously very key for like flags like this is to actually go back through your code base and delete the tests once you've actually decided on what you want. So once you say, okay, Hey Team actually converts better, remove this and hard code Hey Team there and move on with your life and go through and clean it up. Otherwise you end up with like thousands of feature flags inside, which you don't really want. So A/B testing, very, very useful. All right, so I just want to do a quick video on that and show you how it all works. So hopefully you enjoyed that one, and I'll catch you on the next one.